you have the stage where implementations will begin, and then you have the audit process, and then you have the final phase of you having closing that budget for that fiscal year. So the budget is actually on is actually planned for every year by the government. So why at Roman, why are we big on citizens participation? Governance is the business of everybody, not just for the politicians. So it is for all of us. And like Martha said when she was opening the program, she talks about when things that you don't shape, at the end you might not have the opportunity to really say this is supposed to have been done this way. So that is why we at Roman Foundation were big on ensuring that citizens participate at every stage of the public budgeting system, most especially at the preparation level. In the preparation level, we give citizens the opportunity to actually say this is the needs of our community. And most times, if you look at the past, over the years, most especially when it comes to public budgeting, the area where most administrations, whether at the local government or the state or the federal, get it wrong, is ensuring that we create room for citizens to voice out on the needs of their community. And for us, we have seen that as a gap in the budgeting system, and why we are now saying that citizens group yourself, organize yourself, look at organizations that are working towards how citizens can be part of the project, and then of the budget, and then join them. For us at PROMAD, to know how far we have taken this issue to be and the need for us to provide solutions, we have been able to design a civic technology tool that will help citizens at the grassroots level to say this is the needs of our community and we want government to take care of it in this year's budget, for instance. And we do that on an annual basis. So we call it grassroots advocacy project, and GRAP is just for needs assessment, data collection around communities, and then we come back to the office to see, let's analyze this data. What is most prominent around communities? What are the community people saying around their needs? And then we put all of this together when we do the analysis and we do ranking, and then that's will tell you, anybody that pick the report will know that, oh, in Gwagwalada township, this is what is
what
most
they need.
exactly most important right now, because virtually, let's say 1,000 people participated in that needs assessment, and 98% of that 1,000 people are saying we need our primary health care to work. And if that has been done, and then government takes such report, then it will be a very good tool to plan for the year and be able to take care of the needs of the people around several communities. And we don't just leave it at the point that we have analyzed this report, we publish it, and then we go ahead to also engage the government agencies that are responsible for those needs that have been identified. Though the solution is currently at the, let me say, the starting phase, but it was developed in 2022. And now we are also recalibrating, redesigning the solution to ensure that artificial intelligence is incorporated into it to make it more functional, more effective, and more generative in terms of how to harness needs assessment around communities. So when we do all of this and the need of the communities have been able to enter the budget, then we now enter another phase of ensuring that what goes into that budget get passed by the National Assembly in the case of the FCT, or get passed by the State Assembly in other states.
Okay.
And then after that, the president.
So this your tool is not, it's not just limited to the FCT, you know?
No, it's not limited to the FCT.
Okay.
So when the passage has been done and have been assented to by the president, it becomes a law on public financial management that we need to provide things, interventions, projects, solutions for the citizens of Nigeria. So at that level, then citizens will not just sit down because they participated in the needs assessment. Now that their needs is already in the budget, so you now go ahead in that line item for that budget. Maybe for instance, they want to renovate the primary health care in your community. Which agency is responsible? Then you begin to now track and engage such government agency. We have this project in your budget for this year, and you are the one responsible. So community can now have a group and now engage the head of that agency. So when is this project starting? We want to be part of it, and want to see to ensure that even if the contractor is not doing well, we will report to you, so that at the end of the day, we will be able to have a project that is fit to scope, a project that is of quality, a project that delivers value to the people.
Exactly.
Because that is the essence of government. We pay taxes here and there. So if the monies are not being channeled or used effectively to solve our own problems, so the point of paying taxes have been defeated. And that is why it's important that PROMAD is calling on citizens to ensure that they are part and parcel of these processes. Because your taxes you pay on monthly basis, and then you now leave it to politicians to do it the way they like.
Wow.
Accountability is not end. You can always ensure that you advocate and fight for it, then you get it.
Well, I'm looking forward to a time where this tool becomes highly effective in this part of the country, because again, I wonder how you come up with budgets when the people you are budgeting for are not involved in the budgeting process, because it baffles me. It's like going to the market to shop for me without knowing what I actually need, you know. And I think that is like what has the response and acceptability of this tool been over the years? You said it started in 2020.
Okay, in 2022.
2022.
So when we started in 2022, it was at the development stage. So towards the tail end of 2022, we work around needs assessment for young people in the FCT. Then stroke the early part of 2023, and after that we analyze what we found around the communities, because as we also deploying the solutions as at that time, we were also holding town hall meetings to ensure that we introduce the technology to the people and tell them how to use it. So when we gather all the data, we came live, and at the end of the day, we have a policy memo. We're fortunate that I don't have a copy here, but if you go to our website, you can always download the policy memo, and it itemizes issues that affect young people in the FCT. We did not do that to abandon other sectors, but we only use that as a pilot phase to actually look at what is the need of young people, what are they saying, what do they want, and that policy memo address that particular the needs of young people in the FCT and the problems that we need to solve for young people to become more productive, more educated, and have more interest in nation building. And currently, this document is what we are using to have advocacy engagement with government agencies that are responsible for youth development in the FCT.
Okay, that's very commendable.
Thank you.
Right, and let's move to the next question. What is the relationship between gender-responsive budgeting, citizen-centered budgeting, citizens budgeting, and participatory budgeting? It's a lot of budgeting in this sentence, but let's move. Just let us know the difference between the relationship between gender-responsive budgeting, citizens-centered budgeting, citizens budgeting, and participatory budgeting. Let's take it one step at a time.
So let me explain this way. Participatory budgeting is the father of that family that gives birth to every one of them, and then let me attach it to the women.
Why gender is male or female?
Wait, is the mother of that family. Called budgeting. You don't do budgeting to focus on one side of the gender
Yeah.
and ensure and now fail
Cannot be
on the
other
other part of
Okay.
the society, which is the other gender.
Mm-hmm.
So that is why the word gender responsive budgeting now came into being,
Okay.
following the footstep of participatory budgeting.
Okay.
Because you can only leverage on participatory budgeting to achieve gender budgeting.
Yeah.
So it now gives opportunity for citizens, most especially women, because I'm hammering on women because when you look at the country in the past years, women has not really been carried along the way it should be.
Politically.
So already the budgeting or the budget of the country is tending towards the male side. So the women now need to pull themselves together and see how they could also dominate the other side. When we now have a system of budgeting that accommodates the
Both
needs
gender.
of both male and female
female gender.
in the country. Then the citizen-centered budgeting is it's like focusing on every
Everybody.
citizens,
Okay.
that this budget must focus on the citizens, not the other way around. Before I walked into the studio, I heard when you and Honorable were discussing Peter Obi and Bayo Nonuga as conversation around the need to purchase
Private jet.
private jet for the president, and now you begin to ask, not looking at the I don't want to talk about the need right now, but then when you look at that, you now begin to ask, is this thing tending towards the public office holders alone or tending towards the citizens? On the part of Obi said he's sensitive at this time because he thinks that citizens' issues should dominate the face of governance at the moment. But then the other person is also arguing that the president needs safety.
Yeah.
So all of these can be balanced when we have citizens and those in government coming together to interface and then have a budget line item that we're able to solve their problems on the other hand and also solve on the other side.
Exactly. Because most times when these things are being announced, it's more like one party does not want to listen to another party. This party wants what they want, the other party wants what they want, and then there's a clash because there's no conversation, balanced conversation within these parties. And this is why this citizens budgeting is very important. Thank you so much for breaking that down. Now let's ask every citizen, before implementing certain things, because we're three in this studio. If you ask us about something where we think the money of Nigeria should go, each of us have different perspective on where this money should go. If each of us have different perspective as to what should be done as of this time, I might tell you that some of these policies are important because it will benefit us on the long run. But you think that the citizens should come first, they should eat. But if we eat now, what will we eat later? That's what another person might be thinking about. So what do you think are the challenges of adopting citizens' participation in public budgeting system?
Okay, so I think you've been able to also mention part of the challenges. But then looking at Nigeria is a very big country, and that it could be very problematic.
Extremely.
Seeking the idea of every citizen to talk about the budget or to say what they want in the budget. So now my idea is, or our idea is at Roman, is that first of all, looking at the geographical existence of the country, because it's very wide and big, we could leverage technology to be able to say, okay, even without having to do town hall meeting in all the over 2,000 communities in Nigeria, we can still arrive at a level where we'll be able to have data from each of these communities with the use of technology. So for us, the barrier of Nigeria is a big country, we cannot move around, we cannot hold town hall meetings in all of these communities. Technology will be able to help us to solve that problem in terms of barrier. And give it to the solution that we have developed at Promat. So the other aspect is that the country is big, and when you look at the constitution divided the country into 3 tiers of government levels. You have the federal, you have the state, and you also have the what? The local government. That is to make things easier in terms of administration, in terms of governance, to make it easier for government or people in government to be able to say, okay, we can carry the people along. So if at the federal, which has to do with the whole country, if it is difficult at that level to engage in participatory budgeting, maybe around the country, but using technology, like I said, we'll be able to do much, even without expending a lot of resources. One. Then the other aspect is that at the state level, I think the state that have the highest local government in Nigeria is Kano, I think 44. So 44 with the kind of special advisor, special assistant, and this and that, we can actually hold town hall meetings in major communities.
Okay.
And seek their contribution to the budgeting system or to the preparation of the annual budget.
Okay.
And the level we are looking at it is that it's not as if you come to, for instance, come to Eagle, sit matter down, matter what do you want in the budget, he says it, she says it. You meet the other person in the newsroom. No, you talk to them in group. And system. So in that organized system, they will be able to have, for instance, if contributor A stands and talks about health issue, and the other one comes to talk about the general hospital, it's still
along the
issue.
same line. Okay.
So these are the ways that we can use to actually surmount the challenges in participatory budgeting and ensure that we do the right thing.
All right.
Yes.
Thank you so much for going straight to the solution, not elaborating the problem.
Yes.
Thank you for that. Right, guys, if you are just joining us, it's a Civic Matters right here at Eagles 102.3 FM Abuja, your radio experience you can count on. And the conversation for today is centered around strengthening citizens in participation in public budgeting, strengthening citizens' participation in public budgeting system. And it is very important to factor in the people that you are budgeting for, like I said, because if you don't know what they need, then what are you budgeting for? And the money can even be misplaced because no need is being highlighted. It's just a vague list of things you have said.
Can I talk about that? Most times when you look at we have another initiative that is called Follow the Project.
Okay.
And we look at, after the budget has been passed, then we look at the budget, then what can we track in this budget in terms of project implementation. And sometimes you look at, for instance, they will say provision of boreholes in FCT. You begin to ask, where in FCT? It is not definite, it's not speaking to that particular community that needs the borehole. But and at the end of the day, maybe you budgeted 100 million for that. But the project is without location, it's without traces,
specific,
and nobody can say exactly where this project is. Those are part of the challenges that are in the budget, that people in government who design this budget needs to actually consult the people to state clearly the communities where that thing is needed.
So if we go there,
it is because of the engagement gap that make them to say, okay, we are providing borehole worth of 100 million in FCT, but they don't know the location.
Exactly. Anyways, these problems have to be solved somehow, and that is why in the Promat Foundation, as their corporate social responsibility, has organized this program here. This is not your responsibility. Has organized this program here to enlighten citizens as much as possible, to ensure that we are aware of these things, because again, ignorance is the greatest problem we have in this part of the world. We complain about these things, but we don't know how to go about solving the problem, and this is why they've taken it upon themselves to enlighten you on how to solve these problems. And this is where we get to open up the phone line so that we hear what your takes or what your perspectives or your contributions or your questions even would be on this segment of the Civic Matters. The numbers are 09073530044 or 09087668888. You can leave us a message on WhatsApp and let us know what your thoughts are, and let us know what your contributions will be on 09097054450. Now, let me also remind us that the conversation does not just end on radio. You can follow at ProMad NG on X and ProMad Foundation on Facebook and LinkedIn and Instagram. Follow at the Civic Matters on X and the Civic Matters on Facebook to continue the conversation over there. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, Mata. Good morning. We are just in the studio. Barka da Sallah. We're still in the Sallah season.
All right.
Abubakar
All right, Abubakar. Thank you so much. Let's hear you.
A good discussion. If we can carry out local government reform, government provision of public services to thrive at the grassroots. If we have sensible, feel the impact of good governance. But the problem here, even the budgetary is experiencing a lot of corrupt practices. Figures are inflated beyond the really cost of the project infrastructural expansion. The people who are lawmakers, those who are part of the executive, they care for themselves, not for the interest of the generality. These are participatory budgeting. It happened. It was started by workers' party in Brazil when the coalition of organized labor and social movement and some workers' party. So they brought citizens into formulation of spending parity. So at the local government level, they start garnering local government one by one until majority of the local area councils in Brazil within their group before the contested election was twice. Then at the third time they won presidential election. This current president of Brazil, Lula da Silva, was their first president as a worker party. They impacted a lot. That is why even now when he was in prison before the last general election, he won election despite being corrupt practices, because he was able to uplifted over 100 million of Brazilians out of poverty. That is why I said the current opposition is not about northern presidential ambition. Atiku, Obi, Onkoso. No, it is about moving the country forward. Thank you. That is my take.
All right. Thank you so much, Abubakar, for that contribution there. Last thing he said is not about nursing political ambitions or presidential ambitions. It's about, looking to solving the problems. And, maybe you may factor this in your conversation one of these days, where people just nurse these ideas without actually solving the problem or identifying the problem. And then they get into office and are like, this is not a problem that was caused by me. It was caused by the previous administration. But you knew it was there already. And so if you are vying for that position, we assume that you know the problem. So you're coming to proffer the solutions, right?
We hired you to
solve the problem, not to shift the blames somewhere else. But this is where we find ourselves, and until we get the results that we desire, we'll keep on talking. Let me be graceful and give you guys a few more seconds so that you can put your call through 09073530044 or 09087668888. Remember, you can leave us a message on WhatsApp. Let's know what your thoughts are as regards this conversation that we're having on the Civic Matters today. 09097054450. Now, we play this quiz every other Tuesday here on radio, but you guys, I feel like you're blown. You guys don't play the quiz, you don't participate anymore, but it's still on. And if you're willing to participate, the question for today will be, what are the approaches of public budgeting, and explain one. What are the approaches of public budgeting, and explain one of it. Now, answer this question using hashtag the Civic Matters hashtag, and hashtag the Civic Matters and tag ProMad and the Civic Matters on Facebook, on X, formerly Twitter, and the winners will be selected and announced next week on Monday on the ProMad Foundation handles, and then on Tuesday right here on radio. But for now, I don't think we have any winner from last week, do we? We don't have any winners from last week, but you can participate. Now, you can even make it more fun. I said you guys can make a video, explaining what you have learned or answering the question, what are the approaches of public budgeting? Explain one in a video and tag the Civic Matters. It's a more fun thing to do if you ask me. Now, do not forget to follow ProMad Foundation across all social media platforms. It's at ProMad NG on X and ProMad Foundation on Facebook, LinkedIn, and Instagram. You can also follow at the Civic Matters on X and the Civic Matters on Facebook. Remember, they are on Spotify and they upload every single episode of the Civic Matters on Spotify at ProMad. Yes, ProMad Foundation or ProMad NG. Just check for ProMad on Spotify and then you get connected. Also, you can connect with them across all the social media platforms for Eagles FM Abuja. Remember, it is Eagles FM on YouTube, on Facebook, on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. And you can catch us live, replay this episode, share it to your friends, as your corporate social responsibility as well. Because if you have learned, someone else should learn. And that's how the knowledge passes from one place to another. Thank you so much, Mr. Dacey, for joining us today on the show.
My pleasure.
Any final thing you want to tell your listeners?
Yeah, so I will close by saying that governance is our business.
Mm-hmm.
We must ensure that we devise every means to be part of it and improve the living condition of our people.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for keeping it pretty short. And thank you guys for being here every other week and participating in the Civic Matters. I appreciate you much. The next time when we get back, we're talking about the city of Abuja and other things for Monday. Keep it locked in. I'll be right back.
Tap in and turn it up all day.